Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we stop by the Community Arts Center, where Estelle Goldsmith was honored for 50 years of volunteerism in the township. Barbara Reese is in studio with information on the upcoming 38th Annual New Jersey Folk Festival at Rutgers University. Then Mayor David Stahl continues his Business Spotlight series at La Crepe French Bakery and Cafe. All this, plus information on the 30th Annual Daisy Breakfast, so stay with us. On Saturday, Estelle Goldsmith was honored with a concert and reception for over 50 years of volunteerism. The event was held at the East Brunswick Community Arts Center, where Estelle was given a proclamation by Mayor David Stahl, and former mayors Fox and Neary reflected on their memories of working with Estelle.
It's a great day in East Brunswick when you have the opportunity to celebrate and honor a resident such as Estelle Goldsmith. I'm going to read through a proclamation which will pretty much highlight just some of her accomplishments in making East Brunswick the great town that it is. It reads as follows. Whereas it is important for a community to recognize and honor citizens who selflessly give of their time and of themselves to improve the quality of life for others, as well as to acknowledge the outstanding and noteworthy achievements of those citizens that go above and beyond. And whereas since moving to East Brunswick in 1957 with her husband, Joseph J., Estelle Goldsmith has been an active member of the community through her volunteer work with East Brunswick Arts Commission, East Brunswick Historical Society, East Brunswick Museum, Recreation Parks Advisory Board, and Middlesex County Cultural and Heritage Commission, thereby preserving the culture, history, and arts as East Brunswick's appointed local historian. And whereas Estelle, originally from New York City, had a vision that the cultural amenities found in the city should become part of suburban life, and she set out to accomplish this with the creation of the Concert Association in 1959, which brought acclaimed artists to the community to perform for residents at nominal ticket prices. This association later became known as the East Brunswick Art Council and later the East Brunswick Arts Commission, with Estelle remaining dedicated to the mission of making arts accessible to everyone through free concerts and lectures. Most recently, these concerts have been performed on a 9-foot concert grand piano Estelle assisted the township in acquiring for the community. And perhaps one of Estelle's most notable accomplishments was engaging the community's youth in the very successful Young Musicians Project, now in its 29th year. And whereas Estelle has served in many capacities, including president of the East Brunswick Historical Society, a founding member of the East Brunswick Museum Corporation, president emeritus of the East Brunswick Art Commission, and chairperson of the Middlesex Cultural and Heritage Commission. And whereas largely through her leadership and research, an historic district was created in East Brunswick and was placed on the state and national registers of historic places during the 1970s, and a 19th century church building was renovated to become the East Brunswick Museum, where early in its inception, Estelle curated all the exhibits. And whereas Estelle's boundless energy, vision, and passions for the arts and humanities has had a profound impact on the community, now therefore be proclaimed that I, David Stahl, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, and on behalf of a grateful community, do hereby commend Estelle Goldsmith for her lifelong work toward improving the cultural life of all residents and for representing herself in East Brunswick during her 56 years of volunteer service in the community. Be it further proclaimed that I bestow this recognition upon Estelle in acknowledgement and gratitude of her volunteer service, all of which is fitting and deserved. Congratulations.
It's a great pleasure to be here this afternoon to help honor Estelle for her many, many years of service to our community. Let me give you a little history. In the period of 1960 to 1970, East Brunswick doubled in population. It went from about 17,000 in 1960 to something over 34,000 in 1970. In fact, I'll bet many of the people in this room moved to East Brunswick during that time. Unfortunately, that growth didn't allow for the amenities that make a community a great place to live. And when Jean Walling came into office in 1973, she set about correcting that. First, there were recreation needs, so that the town got tennis courts and Bicentennial Park. The library had been operating from the basement of the municipal building in a couple of rooms, and she set about to build a new library building. And at that time, Middlesex County, indeed, including East Brunswick, was a arts desert. There was nothing between Princeton and Milburn. The various things that we enjoy today, like the State Theater in New Brunswick, and others simply didn't exist. So Gene decided that we needed to have an arts presence in our community, officially, not unofficially as had been the case. And she decided to create an arts council, and who but to lead it but Estelle. And Estelle has been in that position really ever since then. And earlier, I heard reference to her as a force of nature. All of us who've been in public life in East Brunswick have experienced that. She is persistent, she is polite but demanding, and she has brought much, much value to our community.
I've had the privilege and the honor of serving East Brunswick for 14 years as a councilman and as the mayor. I've been out of office now for nearly 5 years. This means that I have known Estelle Goldsmith for nearly 20 years. So with all of this information and all of this interaction, I can unequivocally state that Estelle Goldsmith is a pain in the butt. If you notice a trend here, Mayor Fox, myself, and Mayor Stahl all have gray hair. We can point to a couple of them directly attributed to Estelle. I can't even estimate how many hours I've spent listening to Estelle strongly and passionately advocate for her own special interest needs. She would not only lobby me in the mayor's office, but at council meetings, at public events, at supermarkets, wherever I ran into her. So allow me just a few minutes to explain and to expound upon some of these results from Estelle's tenacity and her determination. East Brunswick Township is not just a blot on a map. It's not just a Googled version of defined boundaries that are on a computer screen. Those invisible lines define a municipality or a township, not a community. I frequently said that a community is actually a common unity. And it was the 17th century French philosopher René Descartes who preached that the noblest ventures and the most satisfying accomplishments in the life of anyone is how they cultivate their own garden. Estelle, more than anyone I know, has nurtured our collective garden, the Township of East Brunswick.
I believe all of you here today understand that our culture defines us, defines who we are, and exposes us to the finer things in life, beyond food and shelter. Whether it is listening to a fine pianist perform an extraordinary composition, viewing an exquisite painting, recognizing celebrated inventor who makes life more enjoyable for us, or even reading a beautiful sonnet, or restoring a historical object for posterity. One can do all these volunteers, one can do all of this, only one involves itself in such significant organizations as well. And you might also join the volunteer fire company, is just as worthy, or the rescue squad, or even the library. These are worthwhile in life, and I hope that I've inspired others with my efforts so that they can make their contributions as well to the community.
Who would serve their community so tirelessly without financial compensation or recognition or official thank yous? Well, we all know the answer to that question, which is why we're here today, and why, Estelle, you're the top.
And words poetic and quite pathetic that I've always have found it best, instead of getting it off my chest, to let them rest unexpressed.
I hate parading my serenading, as I'll probably miss the bar. But if this ditty is not so pretty, at least it'll tell you how great you are.
You're the top, you're the Colosseum,
You're the top. You're the Louvre Museum.
you're a melody from a symphony by Strauss.
You're a band of modern Shakespeare's on your Mickey Mouse.
You're the Nile, you're the Tower of Pisa,
You're the smile.
on the Mona Lisa.
I'm a worthless gem, a
Total
total
wreck
wreck
of
of
rock,
rock.
but baby on the bottom, you're the top. You're the top. You're Mahatma Gandhi. You're the top. You're Napoleon Brandy.
You're the purple light of a summer night in Spain. You're the National Gallery of Carpet, you're cellophane.
You're sublime. You're the turkey dinner. You're the time of the Derby winner. I'm a toy balloon that is fading soon to pop. But baby, you're the bottom of the top.
This is Barbara Reese reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. Thank you for joining us. We have a really interesting episode here today. We're going to be talking to two students who helped plan the New Jersey Folk Festival at Rutgers coming this April. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So, Lisa Beth, tell us a little bit about how the festival works. For those that are not familiar with the New Jersey Folk Festival, what kind of entertainment can they expect?
Well, the Folk Festival is a nonprofit that was started in 1975, and it's run by about 15 undergraduate students who are under the supervision of a director and assistant director, Professor Angus Gillespie and Aaron Clark. And the Folk Festival kind of looks to bring about different traditions that are within the New Jersey area. So this year we're doing the Garifuna traditions, and we're bringing that to Rutgers University. So different things people can experience. There's 3 stages where we'll have music, dance, and workshops. So there's also a diverse craft market of approximately 75 booths with craft demonstrators, and there's also a folk marketplace where people who come, you can purchase CDs of the performers that you saw at the 3 different stages, and also information about what's going on at the Folk Festival and about Garifuna traditions. And then we also have a children's activities area where people can make and take crafts, and there's different games for them to enjoy. So the Folk Festival is for people of all ages.
Now, let's take a step back. For those that are not familiar with the Garifuna traditions, tell us a little bit about it, because that's kind of the excitement of the folk festivals, that you learn about new ethnicities and new cultures that we might not know about.
Well, the Garifuna have a very long history, going back to colonial times and dealing with different colonial powers. Right now, you mostly will find people who celebrate Garifuna traditions in the island of St. Vincent in the Caribbean, but they also come from different areas like Belize and Honduras. In the United States, there's a large Garifuna community who celebrate Garifuna traditions in Los Angeles and also in New York, and that is kind of how we got involved with the Garifuna tradition. There was someone on our board who brought it to our attention and said this would be a great culture and tradition to take a look at and expose to people at Rutgers University in the city of New Jersey and at this year's Folk Festival.
So then they'll get a taste of the culture. They'll have crafts. There'll be music, but there's also a larger stage, more than one stage, and there are lots of different performances. So maybe Patrick, you could tell us a little bit about the stage that you're in charge of, and there's a variety of things going on there as well.
Certainly. This year we have 3 performance stages that we're featuring, and they feature performances by not only Garifuna artists, but by a variety of performers from different cultural backgrounds. We have Polish folk dancers, Irish sea shanty singers, so Songs of the Sea from Ireland. My particular stage is the Pineland stage, and that centers largely around non-musical performances. We have a lot of speakers, poets, some singer-songwriters, like solo performers, and there's some particularly interesting aspects to the stage because it really, some of our speakers really step out of the traditional realm of what people think of as folklore or the study of folklore. Some examples of this are, we have Dr. Andy Urban from the American Studies Department at Rutgers, and he is giving a lecture on the folklore of domestic workers, which is interesting because people usually think of folklore as centering around rugged outdoor traditions such as miners, railroad workers, but really every profession has its own folk tradition, from air traffic controllers, soldiers, anything really. And domestic workers, likewise have their same tradition. So chefs, housekeepers. So it's another perspective on the subject that Dr. Urban will be providing, and it's non-traditional and it should be very interesting. One speaker we're going to have that I'm particularly excited for is Dr. Alan Isaac, the head of the American Studies Department at Rutgers. He's giving a lecture on the folklore of Harold and Kumar from the popular movie Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And it's a very non-traditional folk narrative of the state of New Jersey, but it nonetheless provides a very detailed and expansive account of the folklore of the state. Because they travel from everywhere from Newark to the Pine Barrens, all in the course of one evening, and it gives the movie gives a surprisingly diverse account of the different folklore, legends, folk traditions in New Jersey, and so I'm particularly excited for that one. And so we just had some very interesting performances on this stage.
So it seems like you have a little bit of something for everyone, well-rounded offerings. So now also, for those that don't realize it, this is basically student-run. You have Professor Gillespie, who created this festival, and the other professors that may guide you, but really you're in charge of all the media for this event. Yes. Tell us a little bit about how that works with the class, that you take a course and that you learn about folklore and all these background materials.
Well, we take a course on Monday nights for the spring semester, so about mid-January till the end of the spring semester, which pretty much for us ends at the Folk Festival, but we still have class in April because we do go to Rutgers University and class still continues. But the way it works is a year before the festival, we have to go in and interview to see if we can become a part of the Folk Festival for various positions, and we usually are being interviewed by Dr. Gillespie and Aaron Clark and maybe someone else from the board or someone else who had been part of the Folk Festival in the past. And once you're selected, we do some bonding in the fall. So we went to Camp Bernie, which was a lot of fun. You can go on our Facebook page and see all those photos of us trying to climb ropes and trying to do some staff bonding. And then there's also a holiday party at Dr. Gillespie's house where we get to kind of meet the board. But in the spring, we have a Monday night class where half of the class is designated to learn more about Garifuna traditions, and learning about different music and dance, and learning about just their history, even geography. And then the second half of the class is designated as business meetings. So we break out into our different groups. So Pat is part of the performance group. I'm part of publicity. We also have an administrative group. And we each go over what we have done for the week, what our different tasks are coming up, and kind of where we are in respect to the Folk Festival and what needs to be done or what we need from different people. So it's a really hands-on experience of a class and an internship all in one room. So it is a lot of work for the 14 of us who are doing it this year, but we have great leadership and Dr. Gillespie and Aaron Clark and our Folk Festival manager, Gabrielle Rossi. And then we also have support from our board who kind of helps us and guides us and gives us any support that we need.
And you had a couple of organizations that are providing financial support as well.
Yeah. Well, the Folk Festival is presented by the American Studies Department of Rutgers University, but we do have additional support from the Committee to Advance Our Common Purposes, the BP Fabric of American Fund, and this is all in cooperation with Rutgers Day, because while the Folk Festival is going to be 39 years old this year, we also run on the same day as Rutgers Day, which will be 6 years old this year. We also have additional support from the Center for Global Advancement and International Affairs, as well as the Center for Latino Arts and Culture, which is also located at Rutgers University.
So we're running close to the end of our time together. We could talk for a long time about it. It's a really fun day. I've been there several times at different folk festivals with the kids. There's something for everybody.
Yeah.
But give us the details now, the date, the time, and the location, and a website or a Facebook. I know you guys are very media savvy. Give us all the media contacts we should have.
Okay, well, the Folk Festival is on the last Saturday of April, so April 27th. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., rain or shine. So if it ends up raining, bring your ponchos and your rain boots, because we'll still be out there, and we'll still be performing and having our Crafts and Children Activity Center. It's on the grounds of Eagleton Institute on Douglas campus. You can't miss us. It's huge. You'll see tents, and you'll see a huge banner. So if you'd like more information, you can visit our website, which is NewJerseyFolkFest.org. That's NJFOLKFEST.org. Or you can like us on Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter at New Jersey Folk Fest.
Well, thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck with this wonderful endeavor that you have going on this year. And really, it's been a wonderful festival all the years through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. This is Barbara Reese reporting for This Week in East Brunswick.
Hi, it's Mayor David Stahl with another edition of Business Spotlight. We recently enjoyed the cuisines of India. Today we're enjoying the delicious foods of France. I'm pleased to be joined by Rustam, the owner, and Caitlin, the manager up here at La Crepe up at Central 18, the old Movie City 5 Plaza on Route 18. Rustam, what was your decision to come to East Brunswick with this beautiful restaurant?
We live in this area more than 15 years. We're very familiar with this area, and we like our area, and we would like to bring some nice cafe to this area for our people.
It's great. Caitlin, the menu here is quite diverse with the different type of crepes. What are the type of crepes and the fillings that come with it?
Sure. We cater to a whole bunch of different types of flavors. We have the sweet crepes, which is more of a breakfast or a dessert, if you want to say. We do fresh strawberries, bananas. We make all of our fillings that are here, down to the apple strudel, the banana, and the strawberry filling, if you like. More of a lunchtime or a dinner, after dinner. We do the savory crepes. You can do chicken and cheese. We serve 3 different types of cheeses with the crepes. You have spinach and a whole bunch of different vegetarian options as well.
And I know that you have some delicious drinks to go with it, some nice coffees.
Definitely. We make all of our cappuccinos. We grind everything here. Cappuccinos, lattes, espressos. We do smoothies, and we can also do bubble tea. Yeah.
Describe in more detail, actually, what is a crepe, because a lot of people may not even know that. And how does that differ from, let's say, a pancake?
It's a lot thinner is what it is. They're folded up into little triangles, and then they're stuffed with different fillings. It's the thin quality that makes it diverse from a pancake.
And they're all made fresh to order?
Yes, all of our crepe batter is made here, as well as the waffle mix that we sell.
You also have a beautiful showcase of many different French delicacies in terms of the bakery items. Why don't you talk a little bit about those type of items, and are they all made homemade here?
Yes, all the baking is done on the premises. We serve a range from breakfast carts, which is featured over here. We do every morning fresh croissants, danishes, scones, muffins, and cookies that are all taken out for breakfast. All the pastries as well are made every single day. We range from cheesecakes, cookies, Napoleons, eclairs, and a whole bunch of different stuff that we rotate throughout the day.
And of course, when we think of France, we also think of the delicious breads that France has to offer. Do you also have that here?
Yes, we make all of our breads here. We do different loaves, brown loaves, baguettes, and rolls that we sell here. Rye, pain de mai, white, pumpernickel, and whole wheat.
And what would be the hours?
We open from 7 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night.
All right, putting you on a little pressure here. What's your favorite crepe?
Definitely the Nutella banana.
The different type pastries that you have, why don't you describe the variety that you have to offer?
We have a lot of cream base, Napoleon, eclair, cheesecake. What differs from our cheesecake specifically is we don't use any of the cream cheese, so ours is a lot lighter. We use the mascarpone cheese, so it's not too dense. We also offer gluten-free items like macaroons and gluten-free cheesecakes. We range from cookies, different types of cakes, all the cakes, cupcakes, and different stuff like that.
If I was throwing a party, could I come in advance and order something special?
Yes, we do a lot of cakes. We can do different sizes as well as sheet cakes. We can work with fondant, do cupcake orders, and customize to your liking.
And you've been open, Rustam, approximately about a month at this point?
Yes, a month. And we're open from 7 to 10 every day, 7 days a week. We have Monday to Friday, we have specialties, which is breakfast specials. And for the lunch, we have lunch specials too.
And a phone number if I want to call in my order?
732-325-0858.
And Caitlin, what would you think has been the most popular crepe amongst the patrons here?
Probably the Nutella strawberry. Anything that has to do with Nutella, everyone loves. It's probably the hottest item we have.
And Rustam, this is a family affair here at La Crepe.
It is, here's me and my wife, Lana.
Well, I do want to tell you, I've had the pleasure of eating here a number of times, both with the sweet and savory as well as the fillings with the more nutritious type foods such as the chicken and some of the cheeses. It's delicious. And again, I would encourage all the residents of East Brunswick and our local communities to come out and try La Crepe. It is going to be a taste that you're not going to find in most other places here in East Brunswick. And for people like myself who don't get a chance to travel much often, here's an opportunity to visit France even for a brief meal. So again, shop East Brunswick, come taste the delicious foods up here at La Crepe.
The 30th Annual Daisy Breakfast will be held on Sunday, April 28th from 8 a.m. until noon at the East Brunswick Hilton Hotel on Route 18. Meet your neighbors, make new friends, and enjoy the best breakfast buffet in town, featuring eggs, home fries, pancakes, donuts, rolls, fruit, juice, coffee, tea, and milk. Tickets are $10 for adults and $2 for kids under 10. Also, this year's event will feature a limited Tricky Tray, where guests can try their luck at winning fabulous prizes donated by local merchants, as well as the always popular 50-50 fundraisers. There will also be a DJ with music who will facilitate games and limited kid activities, and a possible visit from a famous character. This popular community event is run by volunteers who work tirelessly throughout the year planning the breakfast, and then it all comes together the day of the event, preparing, serving, and cleaning up. The success of the event would not be possible without the outstanding generosity of the many donations received from the Hilton of East Brunswick and several other local businesses and organizations. Sponsored by the Daisy Association, proceeds from the breakfast benefit persons with special needs who participate in the Daisy Recreation Program. Designed to promote the concept of education through recreation for the challenged population, the Daisy Recreation Program is sponsored by the East Brunswick Township Department of Recreation, Parks, and Community Services, and the Daisy Association. Tickets are available at the East Brunswick Recreation Office and at the door. Please call 732-390-6797 for more information, or visit the Township of East Brunswick website at www.eastbrunswick.org.